there's a lot of Christians that experience depression. If you haven't experienced it yourself, you probably know a Christian that experiences depression. And maybe you wonder, why is God allowing this? Why is God's love and the joy that comes from knowing him not enough to make a difference? If God can heal and give comfort, why are you suffering, or why are people you love suffering? Well, Shyam has got a lot of personal experience, and that he can speak to this question. I'm excited to take the opportunity to listen to Shyam again.
I should probably clarify that I will be speaking about my experiences with depression and how Jesus makes a difference. But everyone's experience is slightly different, and each person has their own unique wounds which needs to be dealt with. And I've come to believe that Jesus can deal with that.
Yeah.
So I'm not speaking for everyone here. I'm speaking my own experience. But I hope and I pray that this experience can encourage and comfort those who are suffering.
Amen.
Amen.
You just talked about everyone having their own unique wounds. And it made me just think, do you view depression as something like an injury, that it's if I break a bone and I have pain in my arm, there's a sign that there's a wound that needs treatment. So that pain is unpleasant, but it tells me something needs attention. Needs attention.
It's a great example.
Is that how you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I probably didn't think about it that way till right now. I think this is a great example. The wounds, the way in which I was using the word wounds was to refer to deep-seated trauma or lies that we believe about ourselves that causes us to experience, this sense of great isolation, feeling low, feeling rejected. But I think the example you gave is very good, because wounds, the pain in our body physically tells us something's wrong with our body. There are medical conditions where people just never feel pain. This is true, by the way. I don't know the name, but you can look it up. There's even a Hindi film based on this. It's really cool. There's a guy who breaks all his bones, but he just never feels any pain. And he's like this action hero, but it's obviously really dangerous because you can die.
I think there's an American film.
Is there?
Similar.
Okay.
And he dresses up as a vigilante and he goes and fights people.
Yeah.
He's not great at fighting, but just because he can take a lot of
pain.
Punishment, he does okay.
Yeah. So I think with the depression, like you just mentioned, I think it is a similar thing. I've come to know that the wounds that the pain that I'm experiencing is a sign that something is wrong in a deeper way that needs healing and transformation. And so the feeling of loneliness, that feeling of like a rock is hanging on my chest and I just can't escape this, or this feeling of great shame or fed upness, like, man, how many times am I going to fall into this pit? Am I never going to get out of this? These emotions and this experience tells us that something's wrong with the world we live in, and something's wrong within us too.
Yeah.
And I want to clarify that later on, because I want to make a clear distinction between a personal responsibility and sickness. We're not always, if I'm born blind, I'm not responsible for that, but I am responsible for how I deal with that. So I'm not always, it's not sinful to feel depression. It's not sinful to feel thirsty, feel hungry, or I think if you're thirsty or hungry, it's a sign that you live in a world where food and water is not in plenty. So it's not sinful to feel that way, but it can be sinful to respond to it in very unhealthy, ungodly ways. We'll probably talk about those terms in a bit.
Yeah. And I guess it can also, those wounds can be caused by something external to you.
Yes.
Or it could also be caused by
yourself. Yeah. Well, we're working with, it's not just like things happen to us. It's true, things do happen to us. We don't want to reject that. But we're also cooperating with it, with the world and with the environment. And I use this example. It's like being born into a slave family. And that wasn't your choice. You're born into the slave family. And your whole family are slaves and they're being oppressed. You can choose to just rebel or you can choose to just walk out of this family. But instead, you're like, oh, this is actually nice. I like it. I'll just remain here. I'll just remain a slave. And so there's this kind of complex interplay between things not in your control, things that happen to you, and things that are of your own agency. And it's hard to just make that distinction always, because it's complicated.
You can't oversimplify it and
No.
say this has got nothing to do with me, or also you can't just say, this is all my...
Yeah, some people will say that. I heard some very unhelpful responses.
What kind of unhelpful responses have you had?
I mean, okay. Unhelpful response number 1. Shyam, stop being weak. You just need to work hard, be resilient, and get out of this. I had a friend who told me, just get a job and everything will be fine. Just get a job and everything will be fine. He's in his 40s, and I thought he'll have some maturity. Well, he does. He's very mature. He knows a lot more than me in many things. But in this particular area, and I think it's probably because of some Indian culture as well, he just said, like, just get a job, you'll be fine, I thought, I've been trying to get jobs for a long time, and I've been in and out of jobs, and it seems like you're not quite understanding that simply working hard just doesn't solve the problem. Second unhelpful response was, oh, don't worry, none of it's your fault, it's all okay. When I'm depressed, I deal with it in very, very unhelpful ways. So it can lead me to indulge myself by eating a lot, comfort eating, by wasting my time on Netflix and YouTube, sometimes watching some very unhelpful things and sexually inappropriate things. Also lying a lot to my family and my friends, being very unreliable, cancelling in the last minute quite often. So you're telling me all of that's fine. I have no responsibility for that. Like, or I'm lying to my parents, I'm lying to my friends. Some of these friends need me and I'm not there for them in their time of need. That's totally fine. Like, oh yeah, it's totally okay. I have no responsibility. I have this feeling of guilt when I don't do those things. And when people just say, everything is fine, don't worry about it, it's just like, have you even been listening? And so, yeah, if you notice, like, both extremes, one is like overemphasizing personal responsibility, which is to work hard and get out of it. One is like completely getting rid of it, and completely, some counselors just told me, there's no right or wrong in this, just like completely get rid of morality and personal responsibility, which honestly I have to convince myself that I'm like I don't know, I'm not a man, for example, or I'm not Indian, or I'm not brown, to think that I don't have any personal responsibility in this.
So those are some unhelpful responses, like telling you just fix your problem, or telling you just don't feel bad about any of the things that you've done that are wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They wouldn't even say it's wrong. They'd say it's not wrong. Just don't feel bad.
It's not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's not even wrong.
Yeah. So I suppose part of your struggle is coming from shame about things that you've done that you don't like.
Yeah, shame. I mean, we talked about wounds, didn't we?
Yeah.
And deeper wounds. I'd like to start off by talking about some of my childhood experiences, which I believe now have strongly led me to believe some false narratives about myself, which in turn has led me to experience a lot of shame and guilt. I think guilt can be a good thing. Like, it tells you that, okay, I'm actually doing something wrong. Like, lying is wrong, no matter what anyone says. Cheating on people is wrong. Treating a woman like an object for pleasure is wrong. Again, I have to convince myself I'm a woman, or I have to convince myself I'm Caucasian to believe that those things are not wrong. And so
seems like you're denying reality.
Seems like I'm denying reality. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I was talking about childhood wounds and how they create these false narratives. Yeah, so guilt can be a good thing to awaken you to that, but shame tells you that not only that you're wrong, but it goes way more than just wrong. It says you just are unsalvable. Like, there's no way out of the situation. You're worthless. You have no worth. And you just cannot go and speak to anyone about this. It's just total despair. It's filled with self-pity, filled with self-hatred. What began this, I guess, is the key thing. Yeah, I should warn, by the way, that some of these stories that I'm going to share might be a bit distressing, actually. It's going to be some, not too graphic, but some stuff that might be triggering. Keep that in mind. My mum passed away when I was 3 years old. I've never considered that a huge deal for most of my life, but it clearly had an impact because I became very rebellious at school, got into loads of fights, very insecure. When my dad remarried, my relationship with my stepmom, I say stepmom because I never called her stepmom, was not very good. I was like, who is this woman that's just come into my house? She treated me very nicely, actually. She was very affectionate in the beginning. I just kept pushing her away. I thought, who's this random woman who's coming to my house? What's she doing here? And when my brother was born, so my brother's son of my dad and my stepmom, she showed him a lot of affection. And suddenly I was like, why does she like me? Obviously, getting into all these fights at school, I used to get disciplined quite severely. In Indian culture and in Asian culture generally, you get disciplined by getting beaten up quite badly. So it sticks, hands, shoes, belts, rolling pins, which are made of wood, and it can be very bad. And I would think, like, why do my parents hate me so much? Just beat me up. To be honest, I was very naughty, very troublesome, always getting into fights, always lying to them constantly. And I would also think, man, I wish I was my brother. I wish I could body swap with my brother so then I could experience some affection and love. As I grew up, I started thinking that the way forward is to earn their affection and love by performing very well at school. That didn't seem to work either. Like, they were like, oh, good. And they were happy, but that's it. There's nothing more. And I have to clarify, when I say, I'm not saying they didn't love me, they definitely did. They provided everything for me. They cared very deeply for me. I'm very blessed to have fortunate parents like this. But they're not God. They're human beings and they're also flawed, just like me. And so some of these experiences made me feel like, yeah, people are just not going to love you. You know, people are just going to abandon you. Yeah, experiencing a lot of rejection from a young age, I think settled this very deep and insidious and cancerous lie that you are unworthy of love. You are just going to be forever rejected unless you try and earn it. And maybe even if you try your best to earn it, even then you'll just be turned away. So yeah, I think that's like the background behind some of those wounds, behind some of the depressive experiences I've had in later years.
Feeling like you need to earn someone's love, feeling like you're not worthy of love unless you perform well enough, but then never seems
enough
to be possible.
Yeah, I did really well in my school, got really good grades, got A stars in my A levels, A stars in my GCSEs, which are like the highest grades in England that you can get. And I was like praised, like, oh, good job. But that's it. Yeah, it didn't really like change me, and it just made me think. I remember this particular incident during COVID where I had a lot of spare time and I was working in the garden. And I wanted to work in the garden. I like physical activity. I really enjoy manual labor. But I realized I was working in the garden, so my mum would look at me and be like, Shyam, well done. You know, you're doing a lot for our family, and she would show me affection. And she just didn't. I was there slaving away in the garden, working like a slave. And my mum would show more affection to my little brother than me. For those of you guys who have read the Bible, that might sound a bit familiar. It
does sound familiar, yeah.
And I've just thought about that in the last 6 months, and I'm like, I've not made it up. It's actually happened.
Yeah.
But the parallels are uncanny.
Yeah, trying to earn love in the parable is freely offered. And the son that's slaving away for a reward already has everything.
But he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that story. I appreciate you opening up and sharing honestly.
That's
and
fine.
Want to share some love and affection with you now.
Oh, cool.
I really appreciate your friendship.
Oh, thank you, Jack. Me too.
Yeah. Not because of anything you do, but you know, you're created in the image of God and you're beloved by Him. All of you viewers, you're created in the image of God, and you don't need to perform for anybody to love you. You are precious in God's sight.
That's going to be very hard to believe, and it's going to sound like just words in your head, and it really needs God's grace to make that come alive. And it's the difference between reading a sentence that says the Lake District is beautiful and seeing the Lake District for yourself and the mountains and the rivers and being like, wow.
I remember thinking about God wanting to be my father,
Mm-hmm.
and just it was a difficult concept for me. I thought, well,
Mm-hmm.
God is the creator of all things. He's so distant and high.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he loves me, and I love him,
Mm-hmm.
and we're close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for God to want to be like
Mm-hmm.
in my life in that way, just was mind blowing.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Even not because if sometimes you say like I said earlier, you're precious in God's sight. God made you in His image and He loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And people might then get the wrong idea and think, "Oh, you're saying that I'm perfect. I'm really amazing." It's like, well, actually, we all have big problems, like ugly stuff in our heart.
Absolutely.
And yet God still loves us.
Despite that, He loves us still.
Yeah, He comes close.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I came to Jesus, the idea of God's grace was there in my mind, and it really moved me powerfully. But it was only like until recently that I really understood what it actually means. The radical idea that even in my worst moment, I could have just lied to someone. I could have just cheated on someone. Or to give a very extreme example, and this has never happened, and I hope it never will in my life, I could have slept with someone's wife. And in that moment, I could cry out to God, and His response is run towards me, throw His arms around me, kiss me, and say, "You're my son." That's scandalous.
Mm.
And I gave that example because it should probably make you guys think that's unfair. That person deserves to be punished. You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Something like this I've not done something like this, thankfully, but I've been in a similar situation where I went through a lot of anguish and pain last year, a lot of shame, and a lot of guilt, feeling like, God, why did you create me knowing that I would do this? Why did you bring me into this situation, into this household, knowing that I would fall like this in such a horrible way? And the answer I got was, Shyam, before I created the world, I knew the cost I would have to pay to redeem it. And I still did it anyways, because it's worth it.
Well, you've shared a bit with us about your story of where your experiences have probably come from. When you're feeling this loneliness and pain, but there's a wound that needs to be healed, and you talked a bit about that. Could you tell us what is your experience of depression like? Or how does it manifest in your life, and
that's a good point.
What kind of things did you do to try and manage it in the past?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so I'll give an incident that happened in my first year of medical school, and that's like a pattern of what is to come. So my first year of medical school, I thought that I need to do everything correct. I need to study all of the questions, all of the cases, all of the extra work, and study it all and know it all. I put a lot of pressure on myself. And when obviously I felt overwhelmed, I decided to just stay in my room. Some inherent laziness, some of it was this negative lie that unless I'm super hyper productive, I'm worthless. And I just remained in my room. I struggled to make friends. I clung to 2 friends who were nerdy and Asian like me. I'm not racist, but I did. We go towards people who are our own kinsmen. I think that's just human nature. It's not necessarily a good thing, but
it's easier to bond with people. The more you have in common,
the easier it is.
The easier it is to bond.
So, anyways, yeah, you're right. I just stayed in my room for weeks on end, not leaving my room, not attending lectures, telling my parents lies, making up lies, saying, yeah, I attended this and this lecture, pathology, anatomy, everything went well. Oh yeah, I studied about the liver today, I just made up stuff. And they believed it, they trusted me. Meanwhile, while I'm in this room, I'm just distracting myself by watching films, Netflix, whatever, and it just sounds like I'm having a chill time. But in my mind, the pressure is mounting and mounting and mounting. My goodness, I have this much, I have not attended all these lectures. I need to catch up on it. I've not done the assignments. What if I fail? What if I get kicked out of med school? I can't face my parents. They'd kill me. I can't face that. And the way I dealt with it was by distracting myself and eating a lot of takeaways. So I didn't want to go into the kitchen to cook because I would have to see people and they'd ask me awkward questions like, oh, where you been? Oh, what are you up to? No, I don't want to answer that, fam. Let me just remain in my room. I don't want to cook. Didn't take shower, didn't brush my teeth like days on end, unless I had to. Became totally nocturnal, so sleeping during the day and awake during the night, purposefully, because people would get in touch with me during the day. No one's going to get in touch with me during the night. So if I'm awake during the night, I can feel more peaceful because no one's going to talk to me. And I can ignore people if I'm asleep during the day. And slowly this would lead to a sense of there's no way out. Like the walls are closing in, and there's no way out. And the only way out is by ending my life. That's the way out. The way out is to kill yourself, is death. And I actually attempted suicide. The first time I attempted suicide was when I was 9 years old. I'll talk about that later. The second time was when I was 18, med school, this incident. I wasn't calling for help, fam. I wanted to die. I had made that up in my mind. So I described this to a therapist later. I'm rationally working towards an irrational goal. The irrational goal is suicide, but I'm using my intellect to work towards that. So on the week building up to the end of term, December, before the Christmas holidays, I was very socially active. So I went and met up with people because I know I'm going to take my life. So who cares? Just portray this image that everything is fine. I was talking to my parents again, and then decided to overdose. There's a certain amount you need, okay? And that certain amount is enough to kill you, and if not kill you, damage your liver irreversibly. I'm like, okay, maybe if this doesn't work, like I'm going to take so much extra that it will 100% work. You know, there's going to be no room for me to survive. So I just wanted to leave no room for chance. But I guess God had other plans. I didn't know it was God at the time. But I consumed all of these tablets, and I was meant to be in Birmingham that day, and I didn't arrive. My dad called the estate security. They came to my room and took me to the RVI, which is a hospital in Newcastle. And that was on Saturday early morning, midnight. Friday midnight, Saturday early morning. I kid you not. Within 2 days, on the Monday morning, I was out of the hospital. My liver was totally fine. My health was totally fine. My physical health was totally fine. Not a hair on my head was harmed. The toxicologist was baffled. He said, I don't know how you survived. You should be dead, or at least your liver should be dead. But your liver is not dead and you're not dead. In fact, they're both totally healthy and totally in fine working condition. And I remember lying there on the bed thinking, this didn't kill me. I think I'm alive for a purpose. That's a very vague thing. And I think God was knocking on the door then. Even when I didn't know him, Jesus was following me. He was there, but I didn't know. But I thought the way to deal with this would be to simply become more social and get lots of friends and party a lot. I realized that I felt really guilty when I did stuff wrong. So everyone messes up. So just don't feel guilty. Just do the same things, but just don't feel bad because everyone else does it. Yeah, I'll go on to that in a second. But that experience of staying in my room for a long time, suicide and self-harm, continued for many years.
It sounds like you had a really severe experience of depression. And it sounds like at first you were not really doing anything to respond to it. But you said your plan was death.
That was the way out, yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't work. It sounds like it was a miraculous intervention.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way then, but, well, kind of, but I didn't think like it was God who did it. But I thought maybe there is, who knows? Yeah. I just pushed that thought out of my mind like a day later. It's very easy to ignore him.
And then you said that how you tried to manage it after that was socializing and telling yourself it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Don't feel bad when you lie to your parents. Don't feel bad when you mess up. Don't feel bad at all. In fact, throw morality in the bin and just do what you want.
Okay. Yeah, that seems a bit extreme. I mean, like, if you'd said, don't feel so bad that, you're contemplating the end of your life. Seems fair.
No, I meant don't feel guilty about anything that you're doing.
So just abandon morality.
Abandon morality and do what you want. Socialize with people, have fun, party.
Prioritize your pleasure.
Yeah, prioritize your pleasure. I wouldn't have said it in those words because that sounds very hedonistic, although that accurately describes my life. But I would have said, yeah, I would have used more therapeutic terms like look after yourself or prioritize, or sometimes more aggressive terms as well, like your life is in your hands, take control. No one tells you, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, even God, if he's there. You define your life, you define what you think is right. And that can feel very empowering. It can feel very free.
Did it work?
Two things. I still couldn't escape the feeling of guilt when I lied to my parents constantly, when I would go on night outs, partying, flirting with girls, and trying to hook up with them. Not proud of it. But again, he was saving me from anything, doing anything really messed up. And secondly, this whole self-sufficiency thing, can make you feel really free. But at some point you realize that, oh man, I crash and burn. What happened to my self-sufficiency then? Okay, just try again, try again, try again. But you still feel like, what am I doing this for? Why am I created all these goals for myself. Like I convinced myself I want to build a hospital in India and do good things for society. But why? And I had all these stories in my head like, when you die, at least you'll have left something behind. The world is a slightly better place. But if the whole world is going to come to nothing, then what's the point? So I wasn't fulfilled. I was getting on with life quite well in that period, working hard, and made some very positive lifestyle changes like running and meditation, which are good things. But the narrative behind it was still, I need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G to feel worthy. And I'm going to do those things. And no one's going to stop me from doing it.
So it was like a performance-based.
Without a doubt, very performance-based.
You perform.
I'm very proud, very, very arrogant as well.
You perform and then you receive your reward. Yeah,
perform, you receive your reward, and you know what? You take it for yourself. You take that. Watching all these motivational videos where they're talking about, be as steadfast as the tortoise and fast as the hare, and just conquer and dominate.
Okay, and it's had mixed results because sometimes the performance goes well and you get your reward, but sometimes your performance falls short and then you don't get your reward. Yeah, you're right, and you feel. And what I used to tell myself is that's going to happen. Just keep trying. Just keep trying. Which is, again, resilience is good. Determination is good. But why are we determined? Where are we going? What are we made for? And when I used to meditate, I used to calm my mind significantly by focusing on my thoughts and trying to empty my mind. And I realized, okay, this is really good to be present and empty my mind, but I still need to act and make decisions. In the moment of temptation when I want to sleep in my bed, how do I get out of bed and go forward? There has to be some sense of, I'm assuming that for some reason getting out of bed and going into work is a good thing and is a better thing than sleeping on my bed here. So I am assuming some sense of morality even if I don't want it. But emptying my mind simply, can help to an extent. But then what next? What are you going to do? Who's making that decision? And I recognized that I needed something more to drive me, to tell me to do the right thing. Emptying wasn't enough. You need to be filled up again with something greater and more beautiful. Did you find something that filled you up? Not immediately. I was praying a lot in that period, but praying to the universe. The reason I prayed to the universe was I hated the idea that there's a personal being who answered your prayers. That just sounded like codswallop, to put it mildly. Like, that doesn't happen. People pray and God never answers. People just go sick and they die. Why should I pray to God? I would say thanks to him. Like, there's something there, vague, force. I can say thank you, but I'm not going to ask it anything because it's not going to answer anyways. And anyways, I do my own thing, I don't want to let this personal being interfere in my life. Just leave me alone. I'll be a good person, okay? I'll do my best for society, but just stay out of my life. Keep a distance. So what's the point of praying to the universe then? Well, I mean... You think it's nonsense that...
Yeah.
There's a God that might answer
Yeah,
prayers, but
I
it's
thought
not nonsense to
nonsense to pray. Yeah, exactly. There was, people are inconsistent, and I was too. And I think I thought in my mind that gratitude is a good thing, and this is a way for me to practice gratitude within the culture that I've grown up in. I grew up in a Hindu culture. It wasn't until the depression got worse after I left medical school. Most of my family, apart from my dad, stopped talking to me. Things got really bad, and I kept trying and I kept failing, kept trying, kept failing, and I just couldn't get out of this rut. And I realized that in my moment of need, I go to so many different things to help me, and they kind of helped me a little bit. And at that point, I think I was doing Bible study with a few friends. One of them was you. We're reading the book of Hosea, and in the book of Hosea, the nation of Israel is constantly faithless. The nation of Israel is described as a prostitute, that God has married this prostitute, and she keeps cheating on God with other husbands, and these other husbands disappoint her and leave her to perish. And one day God will redeem her back again and remarry her, even though she's cheated on him so many times. And I realized that that's me. When I'm in distress, when I'm struggling, I go to things that are not God to satisfy me and to help me. And I was convicted. Yeah.
What did that lead to?
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow journey. It made me come to this point where I said, Lord, God, if you are there, if you are real, then I want to submit to you. If you are there and if you're real, I want to submit to you, whoever you are. And I have to describe this particular incident. I said I tried to commit suicide 3 times. This third time, it was like October end of 2022. I left med school at January, and my life was in tatters. All my money that I'd saved up was gone. I'd wasted it all. It was all just, I'd lost it all. Most of my family weren't talking to me. I wasn't even talking to my dad. My mental health wasn't improving. I don't know what to do. I said, you know what? I'm going to end my life. This time I'm going to jump off a bridge, because the whole overdose thing didn't work. Jump off a bridge. So I walked to a Tyne Bridge, which is a bridge in Newcastle, 26 meters high, and walked there in the middle of the night, thinking, if there is a God, he will stop me somehow. Somehow he will send someone will call me, something will happen, and he will stop me. Not a single person spoke to me, Jack, as I walked to that bridge. And I stood in that bridge for half an hour, and I even got up on top of it to jump off. This voice in my head was saying, Shyam, do something with conviction for once in your life. You're so indecisive. Decide and jump. Do it, do it, do it. I don't know what happened, but half an hour later, it's almost like something pulled me down. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anyone pull me down. I just got down. And it just wasn't a voluntary choice. I just got down, turned around, and started walking away from the bridge. And I suddenly felt this weight lift off my chest. And I felt like, what if all that was lost can be found again? All that was broken can be made new. What if your family relationships, your mental health, your financial situation, your academic situation can all be transformed and made new? And I started jogging, and I had this new thought in my head that I think it was placed by God himself. What if God knew what you're going to do? He knew you would, he knew that you wouldn't jump off, but he allowed it to happen so you could face death. You could experience this and face death, say no to it, and choose life instead. And I'm like, wow. 3 days later, as I was lying in my bed, these worries and anxieties about how to solve my situation was coming up. And I just felt God's presence out of nowhere. I kid you not, someone was there in that room with me. I couldn't see this someone was there. And for the first time in my life, I knew what my purpose in life was. I talked about, when I was lying in the hospital bed in the RVI 5 years before that, thinking, I've been saved. I've escaped this overdose for a reason, for a purpose. I'm alive for a purpose. I didn't know what was it then. I did this time around. And I knew without a shadow of doubt that purpose was to serve God. Whoever, whatever he is, this God who has saved me. And I just laid back, and I was filled with such joy. And every anxiety and insecurity was shattered. If God is for me and on my side, even the devil can be in front of me and I don't need to be afraid. And I experienced this confidence. I'm a very insecure person, very confused person. And for the first time, I experienced this confidence, not in myself, but in God. If he's for me, who can be against me? Whoever you are, take my whole body, my whole life, make it new.
And at that point, you were unsure who God
Yeah,
is.
but I just knew God is good. I just knew I'd experienced something powerful. And I was in the presence of goodness itself.
What kind of difference did that make to your experience of depression?
Okay, it gave me a lot of, not just hope, but it just made me think about everything in a new perspective. Like, all the depression wasn't just a waste. It's not just like, I had all this suffering and now things are better. Every single incident that happened in my life is going to be transformed. So to give you an analogy as to what I mean, imagine you're drinking something that tastes disgusting. You drink it, you stop, and then you drink something that tastes nice. So some people think that's the case. Oh, you're depressed, okay, now good things happen. No. Rather, it's kind of like a seed which is sown, and it is buried, and then with time, a tree grows out of it. And these seeds of suffering are being sown, so that God's going to use it to bring something beautiful and amazing out of it. It gave me a real focus, and it humbled me, and said, I want to know the truth. Whoever God is, I want to know the truth, and I want to submit to that truth, and I want to let this truth set me free. I wasn't thinking in those very Christian terms, but I was thinking in terms of truth.
Yeah, even the seed being planted and bearing fruit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of biblical imagery. That is biblical imagery.
Yeah,
for,
definitely. I use that as an analogy to describe this, but I was thinking then that this is not meaningless suffering.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be suffering and then good things. It's contributing somehow to the greater good. I don't know how, but yeah.
Okay, so that experience gave you hope that all the suffering you experienced could be transformed and used for good. That the person you will become will be beautiful because of what you've gone through.
Yes, and I knew that whatever it was my purpose, it was to know God, serve Him. And I also realized it wasn't just about me knowing Him personally. It was more than that. It was about somehow sharing Him with others. That is a very Christian idea. And I wasn't a Christian at this point, and I wasn't sure about Jesus. But I was sure that whatever's the truth, I need to share it with others.
Well, eventually you did become a Christian.
Yeah.
So what difference did Jesus make to your experience of depression? Was it that just similar to what you'd already experienced in that deliverance from death?
Deliverance from death. That's happened a few times since that incident, that beautiful incident where God appeared. Well, I experienced God in that room. But I'm sad to say that, am I sad to say? I was sad at that time. But again, it's happened for a reason. It didn't just go away. There's a passage in the Bible where, which really shook me. It was reading Jesus's prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane the night before he's going to be crucified. And he says, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Come and pray with me. He tells his disciples. They fall asleep. They don't pray with him. He falls on his face, and he says, Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. If it's possible, take this cup from me. And as I read this, I just started crying, Jack. This is meant to be the Son of God. This is meant to be the creator of the universe. It's such a human thing to say no to suffering. And Jesus was here in such weakness, in such a human way, saying, please take this away, God. You can do it. Take it away. And I kind of wanted to be there with him in that moment. And then I read the next sentence. But let your will be done and not mine. Boom! This isn't just a mere human being. This is someone who, in this moment of great anguish and distress, is submitting to God and saying, let your will be done. If this cup cannot be taken away from me unless I drink it, let your will be done. And I fell in love with Jesus at that point, and I knew that Jesus understood my depression, my struggles, in a deeper way than I ever could.
Yeah, that's one of the amazing things about our faith in Jesus.
Yeah.
That we have that hope in an all-powerful God who can use anything for good and can restore and redeem the suffering that we experience. But then Jesus is different from any other conception of God, where Jesus actually experiences suffering
in a very deep way.
Yeah, sweating blood.
Yeah.
While he faces death.
and feeling forsaken by his Father on the cross, being rejected by the very people he came to save. And this idea that, I really struggled with the idea of unanswered prayer, and I still did after that. But this was like an anchor that went deep inside my soul. When Jesus was on the cross saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? God himself has stepped into God-forsakenness to lift me out of the pit. This is a God who is not distant from suffering, but has stepped into it. And that gave me great comfort. It was very powerful. Why would God do that? I even wrote a letter to Jesus asking for a sign once. And in that letter I said, are you so insane, Jesus, that you would do something crazy? Is your love that insane? I use those words. It's hard to understand.
Yeah, that's solid. So you then had, as well as hope for like a purpose in your life, you also had the solidarity.
Solidarity, absolutely, yeah. That this is someone who knows and understands and weeps with me.
And an example as well of someone who's suffered.
Yeah.
And it says that Jesus drank that cup of suffering for the joy that was set before him. For the joy that set before him, he endured the cross. So his suffering is purposeful. And on the other side of it, there's joy and glory.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is the reconciliation of us with God.
Yeah. And
so, you have, as well as the solidarity of a friend who has experienced that, also that he's proven that on the other side there is joy.
The suffering is redeemed.
Yeah.
It's the best example I can give is Jesus himself. And like I should emphasize, I know this sounds great, and it was great, but the depression didn't just go away. It got worse, if I'm honest. It got worse. And it got worse for a few reasons. First of all, I was being convicted in a deeper way about my sinfulness, and it's true. And instead of leading me to repentance, to trust in God, it led me to more shame and despair. Like, I'm so terrible, God's just going to strike me now and dead. I can't come near him. So I didn't understand his grace very well, and I had lots of questions and doubts about his character at that point, which made it hard to come to him. Number two, if Jesus says he's going to set me free, why hasn't he just done it? Why is my life still the same? Why is your name becoming a byword among my family and friends? On account of like me not changing.
So they're like, oh, Shyam, you've become a Christian.
But nothing's,
it's, what's Jesus really doing for you?
Yeah, like nothing's changed. You're just the same.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't say it in exactly the, some people did, but it was just this, like implication that, clearly nothing's changed. You're just the same. And I could feel that as well. Things were in a very fundamental way, something had changed. But for the outside world and my own experience, it was still a struggle. And
you had, this theme from you talking about that this big part of your experience of depression was the pressure to perform. And then this sounds like this is just putting more pressure on you. Oh, now that you're a Christian, you need to perform. Otherwise, it's not just you that looks like a mug.
Jesus looks like a mug.
And that must be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was.
How did you deal with that?
I mean, I didn't. I mean, what did I do? Just run away from God, hide in my room for weeks and weeks and weeks. But Jack, I have to tell you, he just kept finding a way to bring me out. Every time. It's just crazy. I think about it now. I gave up on you. I was close to leaving my faith so many times. But you didn't give up on me. I mean, this performance thing that you mentioned, I only started dealing with very recently. By recognizing that Jesus has set me free from not just his moral commands. I want to come to that, by the way. It's complicated theology, but it's beautiful. This idea that God sets us free from his law. Because the law tells us what is good, what's wrong, what is right, what is evil. And it reveals something beautiful about God's character. But simply obeying them as rules don't change us. They just expose that we're unable to keep them. Like, my parents telling me don't lie, but I keep lying. My parents telling me don't cheat, I keep cheating. Don't be lazy, just continue being lazy. What I needed was his grace to change my heart from the inside out. To know that actually, to not reject the law as if it didn't matter, but to recognize that the condemnation I deserved was was taken by someone else.
Mm.
And he set me free from that condemnation. Oh my goodness, how freeing it is when I wake up in the mornings, Jack, and I feel terrible, can't get out of bed, feel like I'm this lazy guy, feel like I'm worthless. And I look to Jesus there on the cross, and he's there hanging, he's dying there saying, I've taken it away. I've taken it all away. Yes, you've done something. Yes, you probably should have used your time more wisely. Yes, you probably should have, spoken to your friend and not ignored his calls and spoken to your dad. But whatever condemnation and judgment you deserve for that, I've taken it. That's how much I love you. And here, take. I've taken that on me. Now take my life. And I had this image of a river of blood and water just pouring out of his side, just cleaning me and robing me in his joy, his righteousness. And I am his and he is mine, bought with the precious blood of Christ.
It's amazing. And the advice people were trying to get, you said earlier, one of the unhelpful things is people saying, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get you to this point where you're able to reconcile what you've done with, not being crushed by the guilt of that. And so the route that they're trying to get you to that end point is don't feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad. Yeah,
It's not actually
bad. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And then you felt like you were denying your conscience and you were denying reality, living in a fantasy. But now you have something that brings you to that point where you don't have to.
I don't have to deny that.
You don't have to deny that what you've done is not good. That you have made serious mistakes and you have done things that are unhealthy and ugly, and that there are consequences for those actions. But you can receive forgiveness.
Yeah.
So there's, instead of denying that these things matter, instead you receive forgiveness.
Yeah. It's more than just forgiveness, though. It's forgiveness. It's intimacy. It's not just like God said, oh, you're forgiven. And, all right. What are you doing now? It's complete reconciliation. It is in the parable of the prodigal son, when the son comes back after having wasted all of his money, father's inheritance on wayward living and prostitutes, comes back covered in pig feces. His father runs to him and hugs him, kisses him on the neck. His father's Jewish, by the way, and Jewish people are not meant to touch pigs or feces. It makes them unclean. But the father would humiliate himself to reconcile the son to himself. And he puts on the son a robe, and he says, bring the best robe, the best robe. He doesn't just bring a robe, the best one. It's like, it's not just restoration like what it used to be. It's like something more than restoration. It's almost like me falling away led to God's grace being revealed in a greater way, leading to me being transformed in an even more amazing way than if I didn't even do that wrong thing.
Yeah. One of the things that has really struck me from being your friend and seeing you go through this suffering is seeing how this message of Jesus' death and resurrection, of his love and reconciliation with God, is so powerful. Because I would try and get you out of your house.
I know, it just wouldn't work.
Come, let's have a walk, bit of fresh air.
Yeah.
Put see some grass, see some trees.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you feel you can't just sit in your room. You're feeling bad because you've isolated yourself, and just come outside. It will help. And I do think that it does help. But
it does.
You'd come out and it's all right, but it's still you're downcast. But then talking to you about Jesus, it just seemed like every time we had a conversation about Jesus, you lifted up
100%.
And I saw it so consistently. I was like, wow, this just is so many demonstrations of the power of Jesus' message.
Oh, yeah, like honestly, in when I'm languishing in that period, Jesus found so many creative ways to get me out. One of those ways was, one time I was going to leave the faith, and I was going to kill myself, and I had accepted that I'm going to go to hell. I don't deserve grace. I'm going to go to hell. But like, it was something as like simple as the evidence for the resurrection. I can't ignore that. I can't cheat myself into thinking that this didn't happen, because I think it really did. And I tried to convince myself that it didn't happen so I could go and end my life, but I couldn't. And the resurrection mentality is so powerful because it tells you that God can bring glory out of the worst possible situations. Think of the worst situation you can ever imagine. Now, think about you can't think about a worse situation than the worst one you can imagine. But if there is one, there probably is, God can bring that into amazing, glorious resurrection too. And that's exactly what he did with Jesus. In Jesus, God himself has entered death and made us a way out of that.
Well, I just want to share a quick encouragement with everyone watching. Don't be ashamed of the gospel. If you're a believer, be encouraged by this to share that story, because it does make a difference. If you have the privilege of preaching in a church, there's people coming to your church who need to hear this message of hope. This is, a central part of Christian worship, is to remember this great news, and just the explanation of it and the proclamation of it does people immense good in their heart. And if you don't have the privilege of preaching, then just having conversations with your friends. So it's possibly people are not going to react like Shyam, and maybe they feel like annoyed that you're talking about it. So read the room, but
definitely
don't be ashamed. This is in Shyam's story, it's like this is what was making a difference.
Yeah, without a doubt. And sometimes I didn't even want to read the Bible, and I didn't for long periods of time. And God used literature to get to me. Once I was so far from God, but there's this hunger that I just want Jesus, but I kind of don't want him. But that desire to want him was like pushing itself through. And I read these amazing books called the Narnia series by C.S. Lewis. Okay, everyone probably knows.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a beautiful scene in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe where Edmund, one of the brothers, he has betrayed his family, and he deserves to die because he's betrayed his family. And the White Witch deceives him and makes him a slave. And Edmund is rescued by Aslan, who's this majestic lion and a representative of Christ. He represents Christ in this world, basically. And there's a beautiful moment when the witch comes to accuse Edmund and demands his life, saying, he's a traitor. Do you know a traitor deserves death? There's a traitor standing in front of you. And Aslan is talking to the witch and defending Edmund. And what's Edmund doing in that situation? It's so beautiful, it's just a sentence. He just kept looking at Aslan, and that was enough. He just kept looking at Aslan. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of this world will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace.
Amen. Yeah.
I should say though, that sounds like, oh, how do I turn my face on Jesus? I can't see him. It's hard. And in a lot of those situations, it was hard for me. I was trying to turn my face, but he wasn't there, and I turned back and I was ignoring him, and I was struggling, where is he? But he found ways to get me through little things like literature, through people like you, through my pastor, sometimes even my friends who aren't Christian, showing his faithfulness through them. Until after waiting for a long time, he does show up, and it's like, oh, you've delivered me once again, but I still feel stuck. When are you going to remove me from this stuckness?
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you'd like to say to people who either are curious about Jesus or who are Christians but they're struggling to believe because they're experiencing suffering?
What can I say? Yeah, I mean, it's not sinful to feel depressed, number one. Just like it's not sinful to have cancer. You do have responsibility for how you deal with it. You can deal with it in very ungodly ways like I did. Or in that depression, you can go to the Lord. And you can say, Lord, I need you. And be honest, you're not there for me, Lord, in this moment. Where are you? I need you. In the last couple of months, I've really been experiencing God's grace in a powerful way. But I still experience low mood. I've had relapses. But I'm being trained to go to Jesus in those moments and lament to him, using some of the Psalms. Lord, I'm calling out to you. Incline your ear to me. My heart is full of anguish. There is no soundness of flesh in my bones. Sickness covers me day and night. Come and take it away. Where are you? That process of wrestling and expressing, I found it really helpful. And how do I do the right thing when I feel so overwhelmed and it's harder to do the right thing? And I like to read out this bit that I wrote in my journal, which kind of expresses this idea that I'm sharing. The sinful nature in me still wars against the Spirit, but instead of trying to overcome it by the command of the law, I run into the arms of my Father in heaven through the blood of Jesus my Lord, and pray through the Holy Spirit who lives in me. When the command feels burdensome, I say, Father, your command feels burdensome. Change my heart. I don't want to obey you, Abba Father. I'm so sorry my heart is divided. Make it whole. Lord Jesus, you said, come to me, you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. You told us that your yoke is easy and your burden is light, but it's not. I feel like your yoke is burdensome. Lord, I need you, and my flesh and my heart fight against the Spirit. I need you in this moment, Lord. My Father in heaven has never disappointed me. He has given me his only Son, and he has given me his Spirit. Even if my heart is not changed in the moment, whenever I step out in faith, my God always makes a way. I don't step out because I have to and suffer punishment. That would just be obedience to the law. I don't step out because I want to. My heart isn't transformed to that level yet, but one day it will be. I step out in trust that my Lord will raise me up and make the rough places smooth. Every time I've obeyed my Lord Jesus, in time, not immediately, in time, he's given me joy and freedom. And in such a case, I can truly say, with the psalmist, I walk about in freedom, for I have sought out your precepts. And one day I will see the one who bought my freedom with his blood. On the day of his glorious appearing, I shall see the face of my Lord God, and I shall become like him, for I will see him as he is. I have this hope in myself which purifies me as he is pure. Come, Lord Jesus. Come soon.
Long my imprisoned spirit lay, fast bound in sin and nature's night. Thine eye diffused a quickening ray. I woke, the dungeon flamed with light. My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose, went forth, followed thee. My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose, went forth, and followed thee.